Welcome back to the channel. It's Chad. This is my van, the Southern Shaker. And this is my motorcycle, the Hibachi Express. You heard that right, the Hibachi Express, because I do food delivery for DoorDash. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go over the lifestyle of living in a van. And my experiences traveling the country. So I've got over 1 million miles under these feet on tires around this country. I've got a lot of experience with the geography of the country. So that's what this video is going to be about, the lifestyle of living in a van, the geography of the country, and some of the realities of this lifestyle if you're interested in it. You could be in Florida. You could be watching this in South Dakota. You could be down in Texas. You could be like I am right now out in Phoenix, Arizona. So let's talk about that, okay? That's what I'm going to do on this video, is talk about the lifestyle of living in a van. So you want to buy a van and you want to move into it. And so let's talk about it. Sometimes you're going to be places, it's going to be too hot. Just like when you're in Florida and you get in your car and you got to crank up the air conditioning. The same is true for a van. You know, my van is set up with a Predator 3,500 watt generator and an 8,000 BTU window AC. I have structured jobs like DoorDash and my background acting. I've structured jobs where I can geographically relocate myself to the weather. And this is very important. This may be one of the more important aspects of living in a van, is you may, just like snowbirds, you've heard of the term snowbirds, they come from the northern, cold states in the winter, and they go down to like Quartzsite, Arizona. That's a big snowbird haven. Now they go all over. They might go to Utah, they might go wherever. But that's a snowbird haven, is Quartzsite, Arizona. So they leave in, June. They leave by those times because it gets too hot. It's 120 degrees day and night. You would have to have an arsenal of generators and gas. And if you're going to spend $600 a month maintaining and running generators just to try to keep yourself cool in a van, well, you're better off moving. You're better off just moving somewhere north, like Flagstaff, Arizona, for instance, or just somewhere north out of the heat, out of the desert. So I'm out here right now. It's cool. What's it today? It's April. I think it's like April 2nd or something like that. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. It's tolerable weather. It's cool weather. It's like today is actually supposed to be like a high of 90 degrees. But it's tolerable even in the day. If I get, if I get too hot on my motorcycle or just need a break, I can turn on my Predator 3,500 watt generator, and I can turn on the 8,000 BTU window AC, which is all hooked up. I fire it up, go in my van, relax, and get out of the heat until this afternoon. So, but in a few months or in another month or so, it's going to be too hot to do that. It gets so hot in southern Arizona, or in the south in general. In the south in general, it gets too hot, like I say, to try to maintain an arsenal of generators and gas. And it just gets, because you're running 24 hours a day just to try to cool yourself so you don't overheat and die out here. So in that sense, you're going to want to, I'm here now, but in a few months or in another month possibly, come June, at least by June, I'm not going to want to be here. It's going to be 120 degrees day and night. So depending where you live in the country, it may be too hot. And if you're in the north, it may be too cold. Okay. If you're anywhere north of, say, Denver, the middle of the country, it gets very, very cold. So you're going to have to deal with cold temperatures. Now, if you're going to ride a motorcycle as you're commuting, if you're going to do this, get a van and a motorcycle and do this in South Dakota, well, you got to think how cold it gets in South Dakota. Okay, it gets below 0 degrees at times. You're going to have all the heated gear. You're going to have to prepare for weather, extreme weather. So you're not going to want to be in South Dakota in the wintertime. You're better off relocating like a snowbird to the south, somewhere where you're going to be more comfortable. Um, so I think for me, this has worked because I do choose mild climates. You know, like in the middle of the winter, I don't really have any plans of going like to New York, to upstate New York, or Maine. I'm not going to go to Maine in the middle of the winter. You know, I'm going to stay in the south where it's warm and 70 degrees. So I think before anybody decided to do this, you should really give a consideration to where you live, where you plan to stay. Are you planning to travel and move geographically to the weather and the climate? Because if you're in Florida, let me tell you something, or Georgia, let's just talk about Georgia. If you're in Georgia, and you're going to go stay, let's say Jekyll Island, Georgia. You're going to go stay out at Jekyll Island, Georgia, which you can. You can get a permit. I think it's $100 for a few months. I've done it, and I'd like to get back out to the East Coast and make a video on it. But let's say you're going to go stay out at Jekyll Island, Georgia. Okay, well, in the summer, they have 100% humidity, just like Florida, and in 100-degree days, it's burning, scorching heat, different than desert heat like in Arizona. You're not going to want to be out there in a van, okay? So if you're just planning, if you live in a southern hot place like Florida and you think your life is going to get easier moving out of your apartment into a van, it's not, okay? You're just trading all your problems you had with your apartment for the van. You know, like I say, now you got to load it up with generators and gas and maintain all this stuff and AC systems that are going to fail, and then you got to fix and just to try to keep yourself cool in these extreme climates. So I think the van would be a good idea for somebody who is interested in a nomadic life and traveling. And I think it's a good idea for someone who is looking to move with the climate, with the geography of the country. If you're in someplace cold and you've got yourself a van, well, you can go drive for a couple tanks of gas. For a few $100s, you can go drive to the south. And you can go be in a place that's warm, like Quartzsite, Arizona, if you want to go out there, or, anywhere basically in the south. Texas, wherever it's warmer than in the north. And you're not going to want to be in Texas. You're not going to want to be in San Antonio in the summertime in a van. I mean, it's 110 degrees, so you're going to want to go someplace north, go to Denver, and if you've got a remote job or a flexible job, either something you do on your computer or something like brick and mortar, like I do, DoorDash and Uber Eats and things like that, then you can go, drive up to Denver. That's you? Then check out the rest of my series on traveling in my van, my 2014 Chevy Express van behind me. If you haven't, hit the like button if you got any information out of this video. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. I made the video. Oh, he's a YouTuber. There's gloves and everything. Now let's put this in the computer.